Hey guys, it's Jessica with Quills and Tails, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make your very own double-decker hammock for your rats, chinchillas, ferrets, or any other small animal. So the materials that you're going to need for this are some fleece, some cotton or flannel, a marker, a sewing machine, some pins, and some scissors. So to start out, you want to cut both of your pieces of fabric in a 13 by 20 inch rectangle, just like this. And you want to make sure that the front of the fabrics are both facing each other and on the inside. So it looks kind of like this. So the fronts are facing each other and the backs are kind of on the outside. So then what you want to do is go ahead and take your pins and go ahead and pin the whole thing together so the two pieces do not separate. And when I do this, I normally just pin the four corners and then one in between each corner and then one right in the middle. Before you start sewing, you'll want to place another pin about 3 or 4 inches from one of the corners. This pin shows us where we don't want to sew, because as of right now our hammock is actually inside out. So the section that we don't sew will allow us to turn the hammock the right way. Now you can go ahead and start threading your machine and getting it ready. This is where you want to sew. You want to sew about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch away from the edge, just like this. And you want to make sure that you do that all the way around except for that small 2 to 3 inch portion that you put your brightly colored pin on. So I went ahead and started sewing mine all the way around. If you don't know how to use the sewing machine, it may be best if you get an adult to do this for you. So when you're finished sewing, you can go ahead and take all of your pins out. Before we move on to the next step, you just want to make sure that all of your seams are sewed correctly and there's no holes. Now, this is the part where it's very, very important that you didn't sew that 3 to 4 inch or 2 to 3 inch section of your piece. So go ahead and try and find that section that you didn't sew. Once you do find it, you're going to go ahead and just push all the fabric through there and turn it kind of right side out. If that makes sense. So there it is. And just go ahead and just kind of push it all through and just kind of push it the right way, if that makes sense. And if you need to, you can also get like a pencil or something that you can push out the corners with. So then now what we're going to do is we're going to go back and sew that little portion that we didn't sew. It's kind of hard to explain, but just as you see, you just kind of fold it over so it looks kind of like the rest of it, just like that. And if you want to pin it, you can, you don't have to. Then you basically just want to go back and sew that piece together. When you're done, it should look something like this. So you have your pattern on one side and then your fleece on the other. Now we're going to make a top stitch all the way around our hammock. Now as you can see, I'm kind of feeling along the edge, and you can actually feel kind of like a ridge or some sort of dent or something, but you'll be able to feel it. And you basically just want to sew all the way down and around the whole thing. This stitch just helps us make sure that the layers don't separate, and it also keeps the hammock looking flat, not puffy. Now it should look something like this. As you can see, I have a stitch going around from 1/2 inch to 1 inch from the edges. Now what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and put like a cross or a circle or like a plus sign or something in the middle just to help keep the center part together. When you're done, it should look something kind of like this. Now we're going to start forming the actual double-decker hammock. So first of all, you just want to make sure that the fleece is facing up. Then you're going to fold the whole thing in half, as you see that I did here. If you want to take some pins and pin the two sides together, you can go ahead and do that. But I found it easier just to kind of push it together, and it actually stayed pretty well. We're basically just going to sew these two parts together. Now, as you can see, I kind of marked where you want to sew, and you pretty much just want to sew like right along the edge, just really sewing those two pieces together. Don't really worry about hiding the pink showing through there. I really like it if it shows through, but some people don't, but I wouldn't really worry about it. It's not really a big deal. So before you sew, you obviously just want to make sure that it's all lined up and you'll be sewing on the correct spot. So once you finish that, obviously you want to cut any loose threads off, and then you'll kind of have this weird looking, I don't know, what do you call it, like a circle thing. And at this point you can kind of decide what side you like better. You can actually flip it inside out and see if you like the fleece side on the outside better, or if you like the pattern side on the outside better. I kind of like the pattern side, so I eventually flipped it back around, but it's really just your decision. Okay, so now we're actually going to make the top part of the hammock. So what you're going to do is measure about 6 inches from one of the creases, from that like crease line that we sewed at the bottom. And then you're going to want to mark it on both sides, then just kind of pinch it together and kind of just crease it. At this point, you kind of want to look at the hammock and just kind of decide if you like how it looks. Just kind of hold the two creases and look at kind of the part underneath. If you think it's actually too small, which I did, I thought the bottom part was a little bit too small and that my rats wouldn't actually fit in there. So, sorry, that's my dog jingling across the floor. But what I did is I actually went back an inch and actually like made the bottom parts bigger. It's kind of hard to explain, but just kind of look what I did here. You just kind of crease it, and I decided that I liked that shape better. So then I went ahead and sewed all the way across, and you want to sew about, I would say about 1/2 inch, maybe 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch from the edge. There we go. So now the basic part of your hammock is finished. So as you can see, I just kind of held it up there, and you can kind of see the top part, and then you can also see the part underneath where your rats can sleep in, and then they can also sit on the top. So I just kind of showed it like that. So then you're pretty much done with your sewing machine, so you can actually move that out of the way. Now what I did, like right here, I was trying to figure out how I would hang it up, and honestly the best part, like the best thing I could think of, is just kind of cutting holes in it and tying pieces of like fleece strips in there and then tying it to the cage. If you know how to use a grommet kit or something like that, I would definitely recommend that you do that, but I don't own a grommet kit. I don't know how to use grommets, so honestly I just got a bunch of strips of just like old fabric, like the type of fabric that I used here, but I wasn't going to use it for anything else, so I just cut a bunch of strips out of it, and I pretty much just cut holes in the hammock and just kind of pushed it through there and used that as my hanging feature. When you're done, you want it to look something similar to this. Before you put the hammock in your pet's cage, I would suggest that you go and look through the whole thing and make sure that there's no random strands or anything kind of hanging off that your pets could get their toes or anything else caught on. But once you do that, you can pretty much just hang it up wherever you'd like, and that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to tell me down below what other videos you guys want to see. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Google+.